think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all of the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Oh man, it's Monday, man. I just want to talk some boxing, man, and I just wanted to, in typical Bodywork fashion, man, I wanted to put a stake in the ground. Cookie Monster, Bodywork. Salute Cookie Monster. We got AC in the building. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Sounding excellent. I appreciate that, Cookie Monster. You know I be needing that mic check. But today, man, I just wanted to it goes like this whole episode could be pretty much a housekeeping, and it's just something that I believe is necessary, man, because I'm looking at our sport. I already said that as far as hardcore goes, that a while ago we was on life support, and I'm looking at it, man, and I'm like, it's this one thing, right, where PBC keeps taking these L's. Not necessarily inside the ring. Yeah, you had the Fulton thing. You had some fights where you could say, all right, well, when this one was matched, and, everybody go back to the Earl and Bud. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the grand scheme of things, there's one area in this sport where PBC is taking L's, and that's the elephant in the room. That's going to be the meat and potatoes. But I want to start off by saying that, integrity, man, is not just something. Loyalty, integrity, those are not just words that you say when you're wooing somebody or you're trying to get somebody to be down with you or committed with you. You know what I'm saying? Integrity is something where it's like, if you come out and you on every panel, on every chant, saying, oh, I got this guy, I got that, and you talking like you in the mess hall with your chest out with it. When they lose or that outcome ain't the same, you should keep that same energy. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just like when you see these, you see these boxers and they on every single solitary platform known to man beforehand, talking all this smack, and then after they lose or the outcome don't come out their way, they just get ghosts. Now, I had to get on some of my favorite fighters for doing that. I did a whole segment like when Earl left, and I understand why they disappeared, right? But I talked about, okay, you have a whole fan base, you have a whole demographic, right? A whole audience, a target market, a niche, whatever you want to call it. You got all these guys that have been supporting, some people waving the pom-pom, some people putting the tonsil jewelry for you, some people strapping on knee pads for you. And when the outcome ain't the same, man, you kind of have an obligation to them guys to come out and still be you. If they rocking with you like me, I don't care if my favorite fighter win, lose, whatever. As long as they put in for valiant effort, I'm not going to jump ship. I'm not going to be like, I'm looking for the next big bad thing. Like, it's just like right now, we see a lot of people, man. I can't recall seeing this many Knicks fans in so long. It's just ridiculous. I told y'all about this, but I used the Seattle Seahawks that time when they had the Legion of Boom and the 12th Man. How all these people, I'm like, man, I know football, and I'm an Eagles fan. I got love for Baltimore since it's the city, but I grew up in Maryland, so I got love for you know, the Skins too. But outside the Eagles are my team. Period. Point blank. But I got love for the Ravens because I'm here. Got a lot of people that root for them, and whatever they're not playing the Eagles, yeah, I'll pull for them. Same thing for the Redskins. I'll pull for them. You know, the only team that I just utterly disgust, it's just been in me, you know, was Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Them Cowboys, you know, they some of the most delusional fans, but I'm not a bandwagon person. I admire what Pete Carroll and them was doing when they was out there with Seattle, especially because organically I'm a football guy. Played football, had experience, but I'm loyal to boxing now. So I barely even watch it. And I did watch a couple of the playoff games, but like, look at all these Knicks fans. That's just a microcosm of people today. You want to be associated with being a winner. It's nothing authentic. So I'm like, look, be down for who you down for. You know, I know there's one person, they were saying, oh man, I'm with Ray, you know, I know him and this, yeah, talking all this smack, all this cash money. But when the results was what Oshaki did, I ain't see nobody consume no crow, do nothing. So it's like, I don't respect that, man. There are some people, man, that have laurels, that have principles and morals and things that they stand on, man. And integrity is one of them. Just be integrous. And if you're going to be loyal, you know what I'm saying? Like, be loyal. Like, don't be like these wives, like, you know what I'm saying? Or these people who were when the money gone. I watch a lot of like things like American Greed and stuff like that. And they be having a ride or die. They be down with the schemes and playing they part and raking people into the funnel for the Ponzi scheme. But when that money dry up and it's time to do that time, they vamoose. Don't be a fan like that, man. There's nothing to respect about that. You know, that's just a microcosm of what I'm seeing, and it's translating into boxing, because boxing is a huge market, and it's a weird market. Like, it's got to be something wrong with us as boxing fans, because we want to go in there and see somebody get knocked out. We want to see somebody's tooth get knocked out. We want to see somebody go up somebody else's head. You know what I'm saying? We want to see somebody put them ones and twos on somebody, put paws, hands, and feet on somebody until the referee comes in and console them, or they're unable to continue the contest, or they quit on the stool. So we already weird in that way. So don't be more weird by acting all crazy, because, man, boxing is anemic right now. In the media, man, they got boxing by the cojones. So if you don't know no better, they'll spin you around and tell you which way is up, and they'll send you on your merry way, you know. So just have some integrity. Be loyal to who you want to be loyal to. But when the going gets tough, don't get going. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave. Don't run. Don't hide. You know, y'all remember on Baby Boy when he said, "Chuck it up, little nigga. Stick your chest. Just chuck it up. Like, chuck it up, man. Just take it." You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like when Craig Father said, "Hey, listen, man, you live to fight another day." You know what I'm saying? Shoot the fair one with this boxing stuff. There's a lot of people that don't want to shoot the fair one, man. There's a lot of people that's bandwagon riding. There's a lot of people that's loyal to whoever's winning and riding or whatever. There's a lot of people right now with the Shakur wave. There's a lot of people jumping on, even to the extent to where they shitting on Oshaki as his fan base growing, and the people that's been riding for Oshaki for the longest, they discounting them and come. It's like, nah, man, be loyal to your guy, but cut that BS out, man. That's my little opening rant, man. But AC, I hadn't talked to you, man. What's going on with you? How you been?
Man, everything been good, bro. Just been working hard, going through some frustrating shit concerning the nonprofit stuff. It's you like I said, it's an onion. You peel one thing back and then it's something else, and you're looking at it like, okay, how do I get past that? So it's a system that's built to frustrate you so you don't do it. This is why there aren't that many. You feel what I'm saying? And once you start to do it, then you understand that that's probably the main reason why there aren't that many. You got to really believe in this shit to actually go through it and stick with it. So that's what it is. It's, you know, like just to put it in boxing terms, one of the biggest things that turned me around about Tank and my opinion of what he was doing at 35. I felt he was controlling the division in a way that said, okay, if you're a weight bully, you got no reason trying to get in the ring with me. And if you stupid enough to get in the ring with me, I'm gonna do what Bernard Hopkins told y'all. The ring is the truth teller, the truth detector or lie detector. So when people were complaining about certain things and stuff like that, I said, okay, so what about the situation concerning Frank Martin? He's got all that muscle. He had no business down there. There was none of the stuff that you guys are claiming that Shakur is actually asking and people are defending. So with that being said, you know, his purpose was to clear that out. And looking at how this thing goes, you see it serves a purpose. And it's just like, yeah, yeah, much things, man. It's everything overlays in a certain way if you can just see the similarities. You know what I'm saying? You know, what what Mufasa's basically what Mufasa said. Everything is connected in its own way. It's the big cycle. So if you can understand that, man, then you can kind of see the chessboard, the pieces. You can see how people are moving, and you just pick up your little bit of sources to find out confirmation, and then it's like, oh, yeah, then they are moving like.
Well, my advice, man, to you my OG. You know what I'm saying? We cool, but you like my OG. You know, you got a little more experience. But my advice is this: years ago, when I was down in South Carolina, and I was like doing my leg work, you know, into becoming an investor, I started implementing these steps to do it. It's like, well, you only need this and this. It's more about you putting in the work, like you doing your due diligence and this. So I started doing my due diligence, and I found myself outside of this property. It was a corner lot, beautiful. Like I'm talking about square footage wise, and you know everything's a little bit lower in South Carolina, but where it was located and everything it had to offer, it had a sunroom, it had basement, big yard, it had everything, driveway, big driveway, it had everything, you know. And I wound up, you know, setting up a meeting for the property manager to come out there and see me. And so she came out there, and when she came out there with this older gentleman, he was like, looked like he was in his 60s, older white gentleman. He was out there, and he do this. He had like a portfolio out of this world with all the properties he had. And there was a guy that was rehabbing a house right around the corner. And so they came up and they got to talking, but I had set the meeting up for her to be there. But they came up and talking, and long story short, I walked away and I kind of got in my own head and I said, man, this guy, man, this is what he do. He's retired. He's flipping these houses. This portfolio is crazy. This guy, he a walking testament because he going to Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever he got to go, and he's rehabbing a house around the corner. I don't stand a chance against them. And it brought me back when I used to read the most popular book in the world, the highest selling, most grossest selling book, and it was a little segment in there. It was a parable in there about how right before they got to the land of milk and honey, they looked and they saw that they looked and saw these giants, and they said we were grasshoppers in their eyes. And in that parable, I was like, hold on, man, you don't know what you don't even know if these giants see you. You don't even know. You there, you doing it, but they ain't did nothing. They ain't squashed you. They ain't did nothing. And I walked away from that saying, man, never again will I allow myself to trick myself out of my spot, because even though they was doing wherever they was at the level in investing that they were at, I was on the cusp, but I was the reason why the person that they could even talk to get to property was even there. So it's like with my faith and my due diligence and how I do things, I'm a systematic guy. If I learn it, if I can read it, if I can take whatever, just like when I went and got my property and casualty and insurance license, when I got my life insurance, I had to self-study, you know what I'm saying, and then go pass the test. So it was nothing for me to be able to do those things. But I wound up saying, you know what, I'm just a you know, I had that same thought, like, man, I'm a grasshopper in their eyes. Like, I'm out here with these giants. So just don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they do. It is. It does seem like right on the verge of breakthrough. I see this every time. Like right when something very big and ready to happen, or right on the cusp. It's all this. It's either all this energy or all these obstacles start popping up, and if you're not stubborn, like Earl, like Spence, if you're not that way, you'll wind up, you know, not going through or not doing everything, not going that extra mile, that extra step, not saying, you know what, I'm gonna be dogmatic about it. It's nothing you can do. I don't care if they giants, they don't even see me. And even if they did see me, they can't catch me. I'm too swift, I'm too smart, I'm too astute. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a hot knife through butter. So that's my thing. And I said, man, when it comes down to that real estate, man, it's nothing that nobody, you know, when I'm able to do what I need to do, it's nothing that's gonna be able to stop me from it, because like I learned from that lesson from before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's at the end of the day, bro, and this is where I landed on this. Like I explained to you before, it's better to own the property than try to rent or lease the property in this type of situation, because just looking at the history of these type of nonprofits and stuff like that, or community-based things, they're always under the gun when it comes down to leases, lease exchange, lease increases, and things like that. That can easily make or break shit. So I'm with I rather just fall on the side of purchasing, get rid of it, and it lowers costs immediately and throughout the time you're open. But the thing that you were saying about real estate, that was one of the things that kind of caught me, because I'm looking at something and I'm saying to myself, okay, if there should be a plan B or plan E or whatever, and a property is acquired, you feel what I'm saying? How do you justify the purchase of the property? I know how to justify it in terms of the project, but in terms of raw money spent, because you can look at one property that works really well, but its location in terms of where it's physically located and where it's physically located. Like, it makes a difference whether it's mezzanine, the 5th floor, the 50th floor, or in the basement. You feel what I'm saying when you're talking about a purchase? So there was another property I looked at, and you know, they just came out the gate and was like, no, like 8 million, and I was like, how the hell did you come to that? And then I was emailed something from the realtor, and all the advertisement is for a developer, because all the advertisement doesn't have the initial property. It has a taller building in place, like a 3D CAD drawing or draft or some shit like that of a taller building. And then they're telling you about zoning throughout all the advertisements. So I'm like, yeah, once you start talking to me about zoning and shit like that, you're trying to sell that shit to a developer, somebody who doesn't mind spending the 8 million or even 6, because they're going to get it on the return as soon as you start leasing properties. So, you know, go ahead. No, I was just going to say real fast, it's just, once you start doing something and you do it, most people will fail and then rely on the cognitive dissonance that just said, at least you tried. And it's not a matter of at least you tried. Did you try every option? Because to do something on the at least level means you didn't put as much effort as you trying to tell yourself you did. Because you in your own mind, you said, at least I tried.
Yeah, that's like that Now they all bright, going for that moral victory. And T.O., it's like y'all didn't throw hands the way y'all normally throw hands. You can't convince me otherwise.
Exactly.
But with that real estate, I will say this. You know how many times, 'cause I have a keen eye for real estate. You know how many times I tell my lady, man, I seen this and this. It's like people would rather that shit sit and go vacant and not get no money than to work with somebody for a plan. So my whole thing is like, man, you just gotta keep coming up with plans to where it just makes sense when you put it in front of them. It's like, okay, you turn me down. All right, what about this? As long as you got them on, like, it's just like when you back in the day. As long as you had a female on the line, as long as she talking to you, as long as she's still answering the calls, answering the text messages, you still got a shot. So you just gotta keep, what I'm saying, coming back to the drawing board. It's not is delayed, not denied. So this is my word of encouragement. We'll talk more about that offline,
So,
and salute ASO Stain, man. I appreciate you, man. Always showing up, man. But yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes. You ready for that? I mean the housekeeping. You ready for that? You ready for the meat and potato? I mean for the housekeeping, AC? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you right now. I was just about to type like you just went up.
All right. So I'm gonna get into the housekeeping so we can go ahead and get into the cook. All right. Number one, that Zupa card was trash. Now I'm a boxing fan. I don't care if Pro Box doing it. I don't care if it's some Sky, if Sky Sports doing it. I don't care if it's Matron. I don't care if it's PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy. I don't care. ID Gav. If it's something that Anyway doing, I don't care. Turkey, I'm gonna be watching boxing. And as much stuff that I be talking about Zulf, it's like, okay, well, if they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. I'm not one of them ones with, nah, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I just don't care. But when I looked at it and I assessed that Zupa card, that shit was trash. Like right now, like they almost got somebody, it looked like they damn near almost got somebody unalive. Why? Because the matchmaking just sucks. And this is something that I already said. Now I did see Chef Clark. He was in he was in one. Had my lady up. She was talking about it. She was riled up about it because if it's exciting and she don't fall asleep, it's decent. But when she get the, she mess around and take a nap and do it. The trash was car. The car was trash. Chef Clark came back. I was happy for him because it looked like old boy almost got rid of him, but he was resilient. He came back and stopped old buddy, which was good. But a lot of the card, like the other cards, like the other fights, like they was supremely mismatched. Like first round, second round blowout, like just getting knocked out, like it's just like no, they don't even have the level of matchmaking that Pro Box has. And even though they say that that's like the underground gladiators, school of boxing right now, they know how to matchmake, and when I heard Gary Jonas take and a couple other people, because, Pro Box didn't win me over. I was like, man, who was this? And then I educated myself and I understood that, okay, Gary Jonas, he worked closely with Al. He saw a niche which was needed. I always said that they were the IV of, boxing that, we didn't know we needed, but it was the IV. It was the thing that was keeping everything afloat. And one of the things was, one, they give you preparation. It's not I don't ever really hear any short notice fights. They're giving you 6 weeks. They're giving you time to prepare, and they're matchmaking. And they're not going to, when they sit down and interview these people and they talk to these fighters and all that, they're not going to make a match with somebody want to try to fence the whole time. It's like, no, that, hey, look, it's your time to shine. If I show up and I show out on here, I'm going to want to bigger and better things. And they've already developed a track record of being able to do that. Zufa's not there. I always say that, look, man, right now, what they're doing is they're picking people out of the sanctioning bodies, picking people that, some people are familiar with. Some of these guys are not familiar with. Even though there is a niche for like some people that, just can't get paid, can't have no regular payday. Now they're not going to go back to the grocery store or being electricians or whatever it is they're, a profession they can take up. They're not going to do that. But like, it is a niche for people that are professional boxers. They just not the marquee names, and they just need something. So I believe that there is a slot for fighters to go over there. But right now, they haven't even learned from like top rank. You know, as far as like the matchmaking. The matchmaking sucks. I'm just being honest, y'all. I'm just a pure boxing fan. Like I told y'all, it don't matter where it's at, who's holding it, what the promotional company is, whether it's small, big, whatever. If it's coming on TV, if I catch wind of it, I'm going to watch it if I have time and availability. I ain't got nothing else going on. I'm going to watch it. I'm a pure boxing fan. I don't even though I was football first, boxing supersedes everything in my book. I was doing a live during the Super Bowl. Like, that just goes to show you I'm true boxing. The card sucked. You know, in the main card, it sucked. Like, all that hype they put around Rosicky and all this, man, this dude was a walking punching bag. And William Smith, you know, he let me know, okay, he got a little chin. He got some savvy. There's education behind his punch. There's tenure. He's skilled. He has a set of skills. Not quite like Liam Nielsen. I'm not going to jump to that conclusion. But he got a set of skills. And it was the skilled boxer that was able to dispatch this guy. But this other guy that they were trying to hype up and say, oh, yeah, they just made this big signing and all that. And I'm not, as bad as I'm just trying to shit on Zuffa, I gave them a fair shake. Why? Because I gave them my time and attention to watch their card. It sucked. It was but pseudo, bro. Like, you know, I'm gonna go back and watch some of the ones, like some of the earlier fights. I might have missed like one or two of the earlier fights, but on that main card, I saw all of them and it sucked. You know what I'm saying? So as for right now, all they really got going for them, in my opinion, is the fact that, you know, they're going to Congress and there's some bills passed and it looks like it's, you know, it's damn near inevitable because of people that's invested in it, you know, on some political shit. But right now they just got persons that are on steroids. And they're just like I told y'all, this is just a feeder system for the ring, which is still tied to Turkey. And all it is just like having, instead of you having if it was a lottery or a raffle, instead of you having one ticket in there, you got 2 tickets or 3 tickets. You know what I'm saying? The media make it seem like, oh man, there's no way. I heard somebody today, and shout out to TBV, because that's the part that I like about what Ness be doing, is he sits down and he interacts with a lot of people that most people don't even get to know. A lot of my boxers that I got to know initially, you know what I'm saying, like just knowing who they are, whatever, was accredited to Ness because he get them on there. But he was talking to a guy and he pretty much it was just all I heard from him was doom and gloom, and that everybody mind was just get on their knees and say I for Zuffa. And I'm not gonna do it. You know, but the car was trash, and I'm like, right now, man, like, we're not in the lead to where we can pop a willy because of what we're gonna talk about later on. But at the same time, man, we ain't really got nothing to worry about with these Zuffa cats at the rate that they're going. You know, and if they prove me wrong, I'm not like these other guys when my fighter lose or the guy that I pick is wrong, I'm not gonna come out and eat crow. When they prove me wrong, just like when Pro Box proved me wrong, when David Benavidez proved me wrong, all these guys that I bet against will say, oh, nah. When they prove me wrong, I'm going to come out and be like, oh, okay, cool. And you might game me as a fan, but right now, we safe. We safe, man. Number 2, I'm sad to hear this, but Pro Box, they saying Pro Box is in trouble. And I'm like, man, they're saying that they're going to have to go to, you know, some kind of subscription-based thing or whatever, you know, to help out, because they understand business, right? And part of me says that there's a market of people that they couldn't wait for Pro Box to go down. As good as Pro Box is, the IV that boxing needed. I was saying, it's been 2 years now. I was saying, man, did Pro Box secretly save boxing? In a way, they kind of did. If you look at what happened with you know, what's been happening with PBC and how the delays and the big fights and all that, and how, you know, Turkey came in or whatever. Like, Pro Box was the IV that boxing needed, and to hear that they now going to go, it could be good. And we need to get behind it, and we need to say, listen, man, if you part of the 300, when Pro Box come out with whatever they need, as much as I hate fucking Paulie Malignaggi, as much as Chris Algieri be over here stealing my material, he don't ever donate or hit a cash app or whatever, but Algieri be stealing our material. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Paulie Malignaggi, he don't like a certain demographic. You can't convince me otherwise. As much as I don't really care for them, I like Chris. I just don't like that he be stealing. He be pocket picking. He be grifting. I don't like that. He be cuffing. You know, I don't like that. But as much as I don't like or care for them two guys, I care for Pro Box. So I'm going to tell y'all, man, like whenever Pro Box roll out and say if it's a $5 subscription, if it's a $9.99 subscription, I implore you to pay that, to sign up. You know what I'm saying? That guy Gary Jonas, it's not just to give you a microcosm. I'm not gonna stay here that long, but just to give you a little insight. They have those like alcohol treatment, drug treatment facilities, right? We wouldn't even be talking about a JoJo Diaz if it wasn't for a Pro Box. Like, it's something that I would think, man, like right now, y'all, it's gonna be surprising, but right now, Adrian Broner needed. If Adrian Broner locked in with Gary Jonas and he got into that system and he was still able to do his streaming thing and his comeback or whatever, you can take Adrian Broner, you can slide him over there to Pro Box, because they have those facilities where you go in there, they teach you how to like abstain, or you know, they'll get you over. They have treatment, they have profession. That's what they do in nature. So they had JoJo Diaz over there. JoJo Diaz had more than alcohol going on, but alcohol is it's just like a weed, like what they say it's a gateway drug. Alcohol is a gateway drug too. But when you're not getting drunk enough or whatever, and you need something more, you need something, you know, whatever, it's going to lead you to do other things. Adrian Broner can go over to Pro Box right now. They can get him sober and give him the training facility that he needs. He could still do his training, his streaming thing. He could basically be double dipping, because he's going to get paid. His personality is going to get him paid the money from streaming, but in the process, they're going to get him sober, and they're going to give him a facility that he can train, and then they're going to give him fights. And on that stage right now, before he has the pressure going up under the big bright light, they'll give him that. You got guys like Najee Lopez. Nicholas Floss, he was on his way. He had a bump in the road with Tiger Johnson, but we got to see what he got coming back. Angelo Leo went down there. Lamont went down there. You know, it's a bunch of young guys that's going to come up out of there that we're going to be checking for. Cardenas, the guy who he got some hands, he got some power. He was over there. You know, he dropped anyway. They were talking about how he was he was working and all that, all in the work field doing Uber and Lyft and stuff like that. He dropped anyway. Had he been a little bit more experienced or had, a couple little different wrinkles to his game, shit, he might have been able to take anyway out. He dropped him enough to make him change up and make an adjustment. Nobody saw that coming. So I'm imploring y'all, man, as a guy that's an adamant fan of Pro Box, even though I can't stand Malignaggi. Even though that it's not about him, it's about Pro Box and what they're doing and what they have done for boxing. I'm a believer, whatever they come out with, whenever they say, hey, it's $5 or $9.99, I'm going to go ahead and get it. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that's rocking, that care about the sport, you should go ahead and get it. Because we need it, man. We need it, bro. Like, don't be getting attached, or don't be quick to sell your butt to Zuffa and say I for turkey, man. Like, if you was willing to do that, then you could be willing to, like, it's not even $1 a day. You know what I'm saying? That's $1 a day during a regular work week, a Monday through Friday. But if it's $9.99, that's $2 on a regular work day, like on a regular work week, like a Monday through Friday. It's just $2 to keep them going. But whenever they come out with it, we gotta support them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, they're vital, man. And in the big picture, like AC just talked about the chessboard, it's going to make sense to invest in Pro Box. Why? Because if they go out, a lot of them guys and everything they had, they're going to just default over to Zuffa. Zuffa going to go wild with it. But make Zuffa earn that shit the way Pro Box had to earn my fandom. The way they had to show and prove, because that's how we do in life. You don't just, you do your due diligence on everything else before you make a purchase, before you invest, before you do it. You do your due diligence. You don't just blindly be like, all right, here, take my money. Or you're gonna be on like one of them shows I talked about earlier, like American Greed. You're gonna be getting taken in a Ponzi scheme. I got myself out of a Ponzi scheme, but not even getting invested with everybody in South Carolina. They got ripped off, but I was the brother in there who they said, hey, brother, who brought you in here? I was like, oh, brother, such and such. He's like, okay, well, hold all your questions to the end. But I had so many questions. Like, no, I got questions. You got to earn this. But I didn't get taken. I could have easily got taken like my brother did, like all them churches in South Carolina did. You know what I'm saying? But make Zuffa earn that shit. And ProBox has already earned it. So invest back in ProBox so they don't go away. That's just my public service announcement, man. Like, that's just, I'm being as genuine as I can, man, because ProBox is an excellent thing, man. It's what boxing needs, man. So we don't need that to go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We need that to stick around. Crush. Salute, Crush. Appreciate you for stopping through. And Aaron Jones said, I don't usually say this, but Pauline is definitely racist. Yep. He get mad when you tell him he is, though. Yep. He is, man. I'm like, man, I don't know, man, because Tim, he be associated with it, but he's to the point where he can sit down and do he can call a fight with you or, do whatever it takes as far as business, because they'll do whatever they need to do as far as business-wise. There's a lot of people out here that they'll put that shit to the side as long as they're making money with you and getting a check. But, like, it's really, but I like it. I kind of like people like Paulie. Why? Because they let you know that that's how they are. I'd rather the one that let me know who they are versus the one that be closeted and they don't tell you. And then you find out, like, you thinking it's all good or they this way, and then you find out in a real bad way that that's how they are. Paulie will let you know. So I do give them, hey, thanks for letting us know, Paulie. Thanks for reminding us that you are. I appreciate that. Be, like who you like, you know what I'm saying, dislike who you dislike. But that's one thing I can say about Paulie. The last one. Derek Scooter Davis is trending. Man, much like in the vein of the Brian Normans, the Abdullah Masons, the Oshaki Fosters, even though I don't put Oshaki in that same group. Oshaki's a little bit older, a little bit more tenured and all that. But I'm talking about as far as the mentality that Derek has and how he talks. He's like, look, man, I'm not trying to be friends with none of y'all. Yeah, I see you. We'll be cordial. I'll fist bump you. He's like, but if you're in my way, he's like, I don't have no friends. He's like, and it's not about certain people. He's like, I know a lot of people try to line me up with questions and ask this and ask that. He was like, but you're not going to get me to just arbitrarily just go at anybody. That's the same thing that I was trying to tell people about, like Errol Spence at the time. It didn't matter who had the belt. It didn't matter if it was Keith Thurman. It didn't matter if it was Kell Brook. It didn't matter if it was Sean Porter, Ugas, Pacquiao, Bud. It didn't matter. He wanted the belts. That's the same thing that Gary Antoine is going through. It doesn't matter who has them. He wants all of the belts. Derek Scooter Davis is doing the same thing. He's a young up-and-coming guy. He does, like, my thing, body work. He does body work. He's from the area. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to latch himself on or become a part of the extended friends and family network, where y'all go to the country club together. He's not. He's out there seeking and smoking. He even said, I'm grateful for being on this card with Abdullah Mason. He's like, but if it comes down to it, he's still in the division when I get there. Whoever got it, I'm coming for it, respectfully. You got to salute them guys, because right now, you got a lot of people that's playing politics, man. And it's sad because it's like, man, you allowing your ability or your propensity to play politics to get in the way of what the sport really needs. So keep in mind, man, he's a young guy from the area. He is skilled. I like his mind. He's staying active. You don't have to worry about this man disappearing on you. He's going to be active. He's going to be right back in there. And he has that mindset to where it's like, look, man, I'm not playing with you. You know how y'all see people touch gloves after every. I hate that shit. Man. You would think I was different. Like, I'm not going to be disrespectful in the press conference or in the weigh-in and all that. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk my little shit or whatever. But if I was getting in there, man, don't touch my glove. I'm gonna leave you hanging, man. I'm gonna leave you hanging, man. Like when it's all said and done, you know what I'm saying? Like whenever whether you whoop my ass or I whoop your ass, then we can hug and you know what I'm saying, do all of the whatever. That's how he is. He's like, man, I ain't looking to shake your hand and do all that. I'm looking to come in there because I need to be in the right mindset because I'm trying to hurt you. And that's what's missing in boxing too. You know, look at what Lamont's doing with Shakur and all that. Musty work. You know, he's part of the extended friends and family plan. And I just wanted to salute Derek, man, because I commented on the interview that he did on Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype. Like, we give credit. Shout out to Fight Hype. Where I said, man, I commented and I said, man, Derek Scooter Davis gives me hope. So if you appreciate and you want our sport, it's going to change. The only thing constant in life is change, right? It's going to change. But if you're looking for it to stay healthy, you know what I'm saying? Check out this guy, Derek Scooter Davis, man. Support the guys, Derek Scooter Davis. You know, and that's the housekeeping, AC. How you want to address it, bro?
Well, basically, I'll start in the middle with Zufa because the subscription part, I always knew they was going to go for a subscription base because they said they're going to go with the free platform as long as it's, his exact words was tenurable. You feel what I'm saying? But he was like, yeah, our ultimate goal is to become a subscription base, $4.99. So this way we can, you know, bring in all the promoters on a free platform. And then we can bring in some of these promoters that their guys are eligible for championship fights and we want to put on championship fights. And at the end of the day, you'll get all the championship fights and everything. There's no pay-per-view. It'll just be you pay your $5 fee, and that's, you know, what you have all year long, including championship level fights. So I was always excited about that. I was like, yeah, that's a good thing. And this is why for me, I mean, not with Zoop, I wanted to start with the Pro Box. Yeah, I did. But basically for me, that's why I was always a huge fan of Pro Box. And from day one, I understood. And then I saw the owner of Pro Box do an interview, and he was basically breaking the stuff down. And he was looking in the chats and answering questions, and I was asking questions and he was answering them. So I was like, all right, I could deal with this platform. They're not trying to be strange or funky or weird or anything like that. So at the end of the day, it's a good thing for boxing. Again, for me, I'll always support Pro Box. I'm still a huge Pro Box fan and everything, and I like what they're doing for boxing. And a $5 subscription and the level of fights, the matchmaking they do at $5, it's like, come on, bro. Like most of the cards there, you know, you just enjoy the fight. It's like, I don't care about the names. I just enjoy the fight. So that's that. With Derek Scooter Davis, yeah, I think he's coming into this space. He may not have been the most vocal to actually come out and say it and say, yeah, I'm looking to bring boxing back. I'm only looking for this and that. And, you know, at the end of the day, people like those type of attitudes, and especially in this era, because in this era, the Brat Pack it's falling apart. Like, boxing fans are already over it. It's just the weirdos that are accepting it. The guys that want to be down, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on in that microcosm. You know, Scooter Davis is building a name in the part of boxing that matters, because us hardcore fans, we're always going to be here for boxing. That's the difference between a casual and a hardcore, because the casual will bounce around to everything and anything that's just popping at that point. But the hardcore boxing fans, we're the ones who keep it going, and don't let people tell you, well, it's the casuals who no, they don't. They may spend money at a fight, they may do other things and stuff like that, but for fight week, the people who go to fight week, the people who pay attention and break down, interviews and press conferences, those are the hardcore fans. You know what I'm saying? So even though a guy is trying to tell you, well, my channel is, or I got a casual channel. Yeah, you got a casual channel, but you're a hardcore fan. So we know you're bullshitting. That's why we have a problem with you. Because you know better, and yet you still to choose to do this. Now, at the end of the day, if you present it in a way that's just for them, it's an avenue for that. It's a niche for that, because you are the type of personality that a person can tap into and say, oh yeah, let me go over to showbiz, because he's not, he doesn't seem angry. He doesn't seem, too serious. He just wants to have fun, and he's lively, got the funny looking face and stuff like that. Every time you see him with somebody, he's interviewing, laughing and shucking and jiving and stuff like that. So you look at showbiz and you think he's safe, he's harmless. You know what I'm saying? So you go over to showbiz, and showbiz has a purpose for those casual fans that may not be into the hardcore stuff that we talk about. They just want to cruise across, they're surfers. I ride the wave, and I ride the wave until the wave ends, and then I wait till the next wave come in, and that's when I'll see what's going on and stuff like that. So with that being said, to be the silver lining type of person, everybody has a purpose. The thing that I said earlier with Mufasa, the circle of life, even boxing has a circle of life. Some of the things that are most annoying to the hardcore fan, some of the things that are you just despise in the sport of boxing. When it comes down to the communications, it, in a strange and ugly way, it all serves a purpose. It all serves a purpose. I could despise what showbiz does. I could despise what a lot of other people do. But it serves a purpose because it keeps those fans engaged to the sport. We may not want to talk to them, but at the end of the day, we're all still in the same boat. We're just in different classes. I ride first class, I ride captain's class, other people ride economy, it all depends on what you paying for. And what you pay for, that's the room you'll be in. So with me paying attention to a lot of things and giving my time to watch interviews and try to follow things and trend and Google and stuff like that, that's my fee. That's my fee into the sport. So with that being said, everything has its purpose, and where things lie is where you'll get your information. Now, Body said it many a times. I don't agree with a lot of shit Ness said, but I give him credit because I know his channel serves a purpose, because he breaks a lot of things. He has a lot of guys on that I'm like, oh, let me look at it. Let me see what's really good to somebody. And sometimes that's what some weird channels will do. They'll put you on to somebody and be like, hey, at the end of the day, that's that old saying, a broken clock is right twice a day. So it still serves a purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you get it to know whether it's right or wrong. That leads me into the reason why I was talking about purpose and stuff like that, because of Zuffa. I'm not a fan of Zuffa. I find it hard to support Zuffa and giving them my energy with viewership, because I'm against your business model. I'm against the guys who are running your business model. Because at the end of the day, what they did over there to where they tried to build it in both sense in the WWE and UFC. It's been plagued with things of blackballing, intimidation, assaults, just pure mobster stuff. And if we're looking to clean boxing up, why would we bring in gentlemen that have a history that's active right now, like right now, in the same things that we're complaining about? You know, at least with what we're looking at in the sanctioning bodies, there are mechanisms. With this shit is a free for all because there is no you're just in a free fall space. Yeah, all the banks are open, but there is nobody in the banks, and all the drawers are open with the money in it. That's the area Zuffa is in right now. That's why they're able to pay these guys these ridiculous amounts of money to sign up to do nothing. And it's just a matchmaking because it failed in the UFC. WWE is on a comeback, but it still has its ups and downs internally. You know what I'm saying? UFC has always had the crisis of paying money. Like, what are you going to pay your athletes? What are your athletes getting for their time, their training camps, and everything? So, at the end of the day, bro, whether the card was good or whatever, it's still you've got to show me that what you're putting forth right now is not detrimental to boxing. Although I just said there's a place, and there's probably a place that I can support you, but you got to let me know that within that space, that's what's actually happening right now. That's the appearance, and if that's how it's going to continue to go, yeah, there's a tiny sliver that I support you. You know, there may be a couple of those fights once those guys, you know, find an opponent and stuff like that. I just want to see the matchups. You know what I'm saying? I see Shakur with another, you know, this time with a carpenter. Or I see Shakur with somebody that works in an aquarium and shit like that. His job is to clean this shit. I just want to see what the fuck happened because at the end of the day, anything can happen because it's boxing. I'm expecting Shakur to win and beat the shit out of somebody, but I just know what my eyes have seen recently. Incalculated bubble fighters, when they get in there with something that's unexpected, they fall apart or get stopped. So that's where I'm gonna land my plane with that, bro.
Good ones. I'm gonna say salute to AJ. Let me just address what AC said, and we'll open it up all the way.
No, go ahead.
But I'm gonna say this, man. You know, the gentleman that was on, his name was Larry. I forgot his last name, but he's he puts on events. Sometimes he works with Lou DiBella on a regular. He was on the Boxing Voice, and shout out to Ness because I always say my salutes will always be just as loud as my criticisms, and y'all know I'm kind of vocal with my criticisms. Silence is consent, but like here lately, this is the Ness that had me going over and subscribing and clocking in every morning. Like lately, I've been with him like 80-20. Like over the last year or two, I've been like 40-60. I agree with 40%, and then 60, I'm like, oh, that's just narrative driven. But it goes into something else that you said. But this one guy that he had on Larry, they asked him about because it just sounded like doom and gloom. Ness kept trying to get him around. He kept trying to get him to curve around to tell us the positives about all this stuff, and everything was like, oh man, like he don't like working with this and that. It was just like a lot of doom and gloom. But when they got around to what the positives about Zuffa, he said the same thing you said. That's why AC is a jewel. AC said that, yeah, some of the things as far as medical wise, like, yeah, you know, and he was saying that, yeah, because his whole thing was like, you'd be surprised how many of these fights, whereas in these states, I think he said some number, like 41 states, he like, they don't require you to get an MRI. And he said, yeah, as far as Zuffa, but when Ness was trying to get him to tell us what's the positives about it, he was like, I like some of the things that they're saying as far as medical wise, like some of the minimums that they need and some of the things that they want to cater towards the boxer, which is going to cause the prices to rise. But that was like the only real positive he had to say. But it was to your point, AC, when you said, man, the positive I see is like, yeah, they're trying to up the threshold on the medicals so that these boxers get taken care of because they do get hit in the head for a living. And the buck stopped there. It was nothing else that he could really say, like other than oh, yeah, they're gonna take over, and yeah, eventually it's like by default or by everybody caving in and quitting, they are. But he was like, man, we still got to see what comes out because he wasn't even clear with what the House is going to come back with, and he was also saying, man, they pretty much had the guy from MVP and they had Nico Ali Waj. He was like, but they were already overmatched. Just like their matchmaking, they were already overmatched because to have just them two guys, the guy from MVP, he got to say because of what he was able to do behind Jake Paul. He got to say. But to have Nico Ali Waj, even though Nico Ali Waj was in the spirit, but he was a boxer. So to get into the intricacies, you needed a lawyer or somebody of that level to kind of combat with these people from the House, the government, and these people that do this for a living. They'll eat you alive if you don't know. It's like you got to know the law like the back of your hand and have the experience, much like a boxer. That's the only thing I really heard from that. So I'll say that about Zuffa. Like the only positive really right now, until they show me otherwise, is that some boxers who might not ever have a chance, like the Charles Conwells of the world, like Blair Flair of the world, Adrian Broner, he'll probably be a good addition over there. Like right now, he'll get the money. They can, what I'm saying, they can circus fight him or match him. It's a certain market for certain people. Berlanga, he was good. Boychuk was probably good. It's a certain demographic or a certain group of people, boxers in their status that belong over there. But for the most part, them doing better by the health care for the fighters, that's about the only positive thing right now. They just got a purse that's on steroids, and it's an island right now. The other thing you said, AC, which I'm glad you said it. See, I had bought into the whole. See, me, I said, hey, look, I'm a hardcore, right? And so I had already bought into the fact that casuals pretty much run boxing. Why? Because they're the ones that buy the tickets, and those are the real numbers. Because boxing is so weird that to be a hardcore, it's like you got to really love boxing to stick with this shit. There's some people that be like, man, fuck boxing, man. Ain't nobody fighting nobody. I'm going back to watching football, basketball, hockey, baseball, whatever. But you made a great point because it's the hardcores. It's the hardcores that actually put out the information. It's the hardcores where they steal your shit. You know what I'm saying? It's the hardcores that will tell you things and expose you things and be there day after day after day, no matter what's going on. The casual, they don't give a fuck unless it's a big fight. Oh, Tank fighting, I'm back on. Oh, Benavidez getting right back in the ring, I'm back on. Oh, Floyd coming back, I'm back on. Oh, Tyson getting ready to fight Jake Paul, I'm back on. That's not what's going to sustain boxing. Even if you talk about like in relation to broads or when you was out in the days, even if you was single, the one that was there constantly, the one that when you call that number, she gonna show up. That's the one that, not the one that, you know what I'm saying? Not the one that's like, oh, well, yeah, not today, you can't rely on that. You gotta rely on the hardcores. And like AC said, there are a couple people that cater to casuals, but they always be on some bullshit. It's always some gimmick. It's always some drama. It's like, yeah, you cater to them people, but like them people, they're fair weather. So you gotta, just like a Ponzi scheme, you gotta rely on them to buy into you, and they'll be there for a little while, and then they're gone. That's not what's going to sustain boxing. That's why I don't cater my channel. I could easily do some crazy thumbnails, you know what I'm saying, have some crazy instrumentals, come up with some crazy concepts, and this channel will be way more popping if I cater to the casual. It's just I got integrity. And we know when we see these guys, they're hardcores at heart, but they do casual things to cater to the casual, and that's just something that I'm not willing to do. So I'm glad you put it there. Yes, hardcores do run boxing. We might not have the numbers, but we do run boxing. So I'm glad you said that. And I think that was it as far as the housekeeping goes. You know what I'm saying? But like, what's up, AJ, man? How you been?
Hey, what's up, guys? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, okay. You.
Yeah, salute to the 300, man. I've been, maintaining and things like that. But yeah, I've been working crazy, man. Like I ain't been catching the live. Y'all been cooking without me, especially with some hot topics that I missed. 'Cause I work at Amazon now, so ain't like we can't be on our phone, but I just can't really. I gotta constantly be doing something, so I can't
Yeah.
really stop by like I was. But man, I've been saying this for years, but like, man, like I don't think you ever missed a beat, Mike. Like I'm sorry, like even when you not drop videos, you still on it, man. Like the state of boxing. Like, what's the best way to describe this? Like, when something not dying, well, something is dying, but it got potential. It got a heartbeat. You feel me? It's just it's missing them. I'm sorry to say it. Call me a D ride all you want. It's just missing them PBC guys. Like them other what you want to say, clicks, the Bud Buddies, the Haney, Alphabet Group, whatever. Bro, it's like boxing is killing itself because wrestling. Uh, we just seen it with Wemby and OKC. It's like every sports story needs a rivalry or a storyline, something. You feel me to keep it alive.
Mm.
They trying to their best to avoid what made. Bro, I'm not that old, bro. I could even see. You could say it's cliche, but I could even see back in the day that boxing. Like, come on, bro. Like, you get every fight. You could say, oh, they wasn't getting paid. Bro, you got every fight you want, bro. Name a fight you didn't get. Whether they was old, mid, young, you got all these fights. Cause you know that's what it's about. It's about this, but now it's like a monopoly. Like they trying to squeeze out as much money. Just like with everything, I'm starting to see that a lot. Like Chick-fil-A change they chicken. You feel me? You feel me? Uh, certain restaurants don't taste no same no more. It's just like a real low vibration of everything out there. But the prices is going up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much they charge for seats these days, but I know Shakur and them better not be charging that much for that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for you to still make content, even though boxing trying to kill itself, cause it's trying to kill itself, but you know, people like you, AC, others, you can name them. That's anybody. Terrico. Y'all want to keep it away because the other content creators they trying to monopolize off of boxers who don't give two, three F's about them and never did, never will. But you know, it's the world we live in these days, man. And I ain't gonna lie, like this gotta be the best channel out, bro. Cause it's so easy for Bodywork to flip, bro. All you gotta do is say one thing about one of these fighters that they promoting, and you on, bro. And Bash Tank and Earl for their fights coming up, they trying to find something about this Schofield fight. It's like they going probably wait until the press conference or like the lead up to the fight like they always do. And then after the fight, yeah, Tank, right? But other than that, there ain't really nothing popping. Like, so I don't know how you do it, Mike, but hey, salute, bro.
Yeah, I pretty much I take my little breaks, man, and I say, man, I'll sound like an angry. I guess I'm like unk status. I don't know if I'm quite unk status. I'm like about to be 46, so I guess I might could say unk status maybe, but I don't want to sound like the angry uncle all the time. So sometimes I be like, man, if if I don't got nothing good to say, and I can't just draw from something to be creative, I just ain't gonna say nothing. But I'll still be posting and, you know, taking my shots that way, because I'm glad you said it about Earl and Tank and how the PBC, and people will say, oh man, we PBC gangbangers. No, it just is what it is. And that transition right into the meat and potatoes of the show. Look, y'all, this is the elephant in the room, y'all. I'll tell y'all what the elephant in the room is. Let me pull it up real quick. When you look at it, right, PBC, when they putting on fights and they're thriving, like some of the biggest paydays, some of the most exciting fights, their cars, even Moro Ronaldo and the whole crew, when they get the band back together, and it's like, man, once again it's on. Like whenever you see it, it's like, man, damn, I miss it. That's why when they transitioned from Showtime, it was almost like a funeral. People was all down. It's like, nah, they still around. They just moving over, and sometimes that take something to actually it takes something to actually make that jump. Like when you're going from a network to network, it's different things. Like you got to think about it. With Amazon, you know, more than proof of concept, because they already had proof of concept. But you got to be able to you got a marquee guy. It's just like when Top Rank had Bud. They had their marquee guy in Bud, but they allocated all their time, all their resources to who? The Great White Hypes, the Furies of the world, the Lomachinkos of the world. They did that. And so Bud, in a way, he kind of got shafted, but like it wasn't, you can't put it all on Bud, but he was picking and choosing. You know, that we're gonna be, you know, we're gonna be honest, because Bob, they love when he be honest and he say what he say when he's shitting on somebody else, but when he say we had fighters, but he didn't want to fight them. So part of it was like Bud's doing, but for the most part, they believed in the Great White Hypes more so than them. But when you look at PBC had been thriving for years. They made more millionaires than more black and brown millionaires than anybody else you can. Because look at what Eddie did. Eddie, this is a whole video, and I know somebody gonna probably steal it, but guess what? I don't give a fuck about the credit. I give a fuck about the message nowadays. Look at what's going on with Katie Taylor and what he's doing. Look at what happened with Eubanks and Connor Bennett and what they're doing. That's his claim to fame. If he give you one of them once every year or once or twice a year, and it's the biggest thing over there, that's all he really care about. He's procuring American talent, right? And then putting on his biggest things, like right now. He's catering everything. When did Boots get that? When did Shakur get that? When did anybody on that roster that he procured from over here get that level of exposure and those big of a fights with those kind of venues? It hasn't happened. He just keep finding more and more investors. But people shit on the PBC. And part of the problem, right? This part of the problem, this is the elephant in the room. PBC take the most L's in the media. PBC take the most L's in the media. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. PBC. I'm a diehard for PBC. I love PBC. Like a lot of my favorite fighters, like my top three favorite fighters to this day: Tank, Earl, Jamel. They ain't active right now. That ain't stopping the channel. But guess what it is doing? It's giving all these people, whether you down with Zuffa, whether you down with Golden Boy, whether you down with Matchroom, whether you down with Top Rank, whether you down with Pro Box. It's giving all these people at any given time to bring up these PBC fighters and say whatever the fuck they want about a PBC fighter. And there is nobody, there is no entity, there is nobody on a constant basis that's being a speaker box for the PBC. We love you, Al. We know what you was able to do. We love all the fighters over there, but PBC got to do something about the fact that they have nobody filling the gap to answer the questions. It's just like in life, you had the benefit of you have the proof, the burden of proof is what they call it. Somebody come out and say, oh, this was sexual harassment, or oh, he did this, or oh, she did that. It's like, well, until you prove them otherwise, that's law in everybody's opinion. So people get up here and they say the most outrageous shit about PBC fighters, right? The most outrageous things about negotiations, about who's ducking who, and there is no hub. Think about it. You got the Ring magazine with Max Kellerman got to be the wackest dude on the line right now. Max Kellerman got to be even though I don't always agree with Andre Ward, even sitting down watching that Zuffa card, listening to him argue, or even try to put up any kind of debate about what Andre Ward is seeing in there, Max Kellerman is going tooth and nail with him. You got his lame ass with Shady McCoy, who's a football player. He's from the Eagles, right? Then they'll have a special guest like they just had T.O. on. I don't give a fuck about what T.O. got going on right now. He just sold his soul. He didn't fight the way he was supposed to fight. Malik Scott, depending on who we talking about, but I like his boxing mind, but depending on who we talking about. But you got the Ring magazine crew, right? Then you got all the fight hypes and all the fight hubs, and then you got the cigars and all that. They all affiliated with everybody else but the PBC. And at any point, right, they could say whatever the fuck they want about PBC. There is no hub, nobody that comes out on a regular basis that's going to address half the shit, a third of the shit, a quarter of the shit, the eighth of the shit that they be saying about all these fighters. And I'm going to prove it. Because these are the guys, right? These are the guys, and yeah, we got Earl and all that, right? But like, it's bittersweet with Earl. People respect him or whatever, but like, they just like that Bud eggplant so much that they don't really get into it. But lately they haven't really been shitting on Earl other than the fact that they be acting like he didn't do what he did before the Bud fight. So I'm not going to address him. That's why he's not on the thumbnail. But when it come up to these guys that's still relevant, not the most active outside of David Benavidez, but these guys right here, y'all notice how the narrative is always them and it's not whoever else they're in talks or whoever they're opposing them with. Y'all ever notice that? And I got the proof. I got a couple examples. He said PBC got for 9. I'm not even joking. What can I say about that? They do. I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, they got for 9. I'm gonna leave it at that. PBC got for 9. I'll leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? I respect the dude, man, but I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. You know, I'm gonna just leave it at that. Cause whenever I be real about it, people be acting like or whatever. I think the last time I said something about him, I lost somebody, I lost subscribers or whatever. But even though I don't give a fuck, but like, yeah, they do got him. But let me point out something. Let me point out something to y'all. A couple things. Let's start with David Benavidez, right? David Benavidez, I often talked about how David Benavidez, especially the last 18 months to a year, where he's really come on, he's really coming to his own. He just took over Cinco de Mayo, right? He's trying to take over the September date. He slowly merged, the Mexican monster is slowly merged as that Mexican marquee, that Mexican, yeah, he do. It just for me, I'm gonna leave it like this. It's just like right when he don't need to, like, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion. I respect him. You know what I'm saying? I'll be glad when he get back to the form that had me checking in for him every morning the way, you know, I used to. I'll just say that for me, it just seems like he play politics when he don't need to play politics with certain things. It's like right when, since if you gonna be in that spot, you gotta take the heat, you know what I'm saying, to come along with being in that spot. So you can't play politics just to not lose this portion of your fan base. It's like, no, because then you're leading people on. You know what I'm saying? You're playing politics. So I'll say that. But yes, he is a big advocate. And you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the big things that I actually like about. So I'll give him his salutes on that. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, they do have him. That's why I was going to leave it at that. But like, think about this. With David Benavidez, when you sit down and you talk to any one of these boxers, even down to Shakur, because remember, They talked to Shakur. He was saying, you know, who was this and that. He was saying, oh man, I like David Benavidez. All right, man, I like him, man. He's just. So I always said, like here recently, what I've been saying is, man, he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. So he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. It wasn't until, you know, Benavidez got with Ryan and said, oh man, I wouldn't do that dumb shit by fucking with Shakur with no catchweight and do all this. Like, no, if you want to fight you at 47, tell him to come up. It wasn't until that where Shakur changed his tune of like, well, David need to go fight Usyk. But he was just on camera singing and shouting David Benavidez's praises. But if y'all notice that ever since y'all Battaglia went over there to Zuffa, that's when this whole big birth. Everybody was riding with David Benavidez saying that he got the energy to need to be doing this. Nobody said shit when Turkey got in the way of a Bivol and Benavidez fight. When he told Bivol, oh, don't bite the hand that feeds you. I'm like, well, this is just another example of how Turkey's not really into it for the big fights. He's into it for his own self-grandizement and not for the health of boxing. I've been saying that. He's a Turkey. He's a sugar daddy. You know what I'm saying? He's a Trojan horse. You know, I've been saying that. Plenty of videos when I was saying what he is. Did he give us some good fights? Yes. Did he give us everything we want? Absolutely not. He got in the way of more fights. Because think about it. Why didn't we get Boots and Virgil? But y'all have noticed how the conversation around David Benavidez has now included all this duck shit. I ain't gonna say that it didn't exist before, because I can give you an example. I'm gonna give this example later. But at one point in time, Jamal and Benavidez, they were talking. They were a weight class difference. So I'm gonna parking lot that and I'm gonna come back around. They were a weight class difference. I'm gonna parking lot that and I'm gonna come back around to it. But y'all notice how every video, every platform, anybody that actually talks about David Benavidez now is somehow equating him to ducking. First of all, just recently it was Jao Battaglia. When Jao Battaglia went over there to Zuffa Island, when David Benavidez was gonna go up, he was gonna fight Zerto, and after that, after he get them two straps, he was gonna go for Jao Battaglia's belt. Y'all remember that? Well, Jao Battaglia chose to take somebody that was already in the top 12. They ultimately said he was in the top 10 and went over to Zuffa to fight him. He didn't have to go over to Zuffa to do that. All he had to do was make that fight and then wait, and then David Benavidez was gonna fight you next if he got past Zerto. So he wound up getting Zerto two straps, and the conversation was just recently, like up until about a week ago, the conversation was that David Benavidez was ducking Jao Battaglia. In the spirit of David Benavidez, when the fuck have you ever known David Benavidez to duck anybody? When? How long was he pursuing the face of boxing? And Canelo Alvarez when he was the face of boxing. Who was he ducking? When was he ducking? How was he ducking? The who, what, when, why. They never addressed that with Dave. Now in the conversation, now he's ducking Beterbiev. When Bivol, he got the most to gain from Bivol. But all these outlets out here chirping, talking, PBC ain't got nobody out here being an advocate for Benavidez unless you ask him. I even see the Ring magazine give a quote about what his father said, and the way the quote went, it'll make you think that, oh yeah, the way this is written, the tone of it is making it seem like he don't want no parts of Beterbiev. But the standard is different. Why? Because if fighting Bivol will get you undisputed, unless Bivol was not available, why would you fight Beterbiev instead of Bivol? When you're a legacy fighter like David Benavidez, he's always been a legacy fighter. He was said, I'll take whatever to fight Canelo. Canelo wanted $200 million to fight him. Now the conversation from all these different sources are saying that David Benavidez is ducking. How, Sway? How? We were just saying he pound for pound. But my man Crush, when he said it can only really be one and not a whole list, I'm starting to buy into that. Why? Because the list is so political and people making a list every week. Like, it's a new person getting added to this list every week. I'm like, how big is the pound for pound list? And if it comes down to just one, it's arguable that right now, all things considered, it's probably either David Benavidez or Jesse Bam Rodriguez. It's either David Benavidez or Jesse Bam Rodriguez. You can probably say right now, pound for pound, yeah. Right now, pound for pound, it's either David Benavidez or Jesse Rodriguez the way they move. You might be able to say Benavidez or Inoue up until, you know, if Inoue get either way. It's either going to be Jesse Bam Rodriguez or Inoue, you know what I'm saying? But really, it's going to be Bam and Benavidez for us over here. That's the way we seeing it. I haven't had anybody that's going to argue with me about it, you know what I'm saying? When you're talking about active, you know, the style, you know what I'm saying, and what they're able to do and how they keep just pouring it on and showing up and showing out and all that, always progressing, always legacy, not really getting in the media about, oh man, I need this much money, oh man, no, I need a massage and I need, you know, come on man, I need a chauffeur. No, they're pound for pound. That's David Benavidez. Gary Antoine. Let's talk about Gary Antoine. Gary Antoine Russell. He fought Hirioka. They shitted on him because he had a tough fight with Andy Hirioka. And I'm not going to give you the answer to this, but I want you to go back and look and listen to the scorecards and what the outcome of that fight was. You don't shit on a guy like Gary Antoine for getting past a guy like Andy Hirioka when you see how Andy Hirioka came on in the mid-round before Gary Antoine made another adjustment, figured it out, and slid. After that, they asked him, okay, well, who you want to fight? Now, y'all know he's in my intro. The goal is to have all of the titles, all of the belts on some Errol Spence shit. It don't matter who got him. It could have been Tio. It could have been Shakur. It could have been Richardson Hitchens. It could have been Sabril. It could have been whoever has all of the belts at 140. They asked him, well, who you want to fight? He's like, well, he pretty much said, listen, Shakur, I know Shakur don't want to fight me. How do he know? Because Shakur spent plenty of time down there with the fighting Russells. It's the same reason why Shakur didn't have that same energy when him and Mr. Gary Russell, the longest reigning champ at 126, he reigned for 6 years, 352 days. Why he didn't want to fight him when he was down there. And he slid right up on out of there. But you get a Joet Gonzalez, you get, you know what I'm saying, whoever, like, come on, man. Come on, man. He spent time. They sparred plenty of time. He used to go down there and fuck with the Russells in their gym. He said, I know Shakur don't want to fight me, so I'll probably fight him last. You know what that is? Because Gary Antoine Russell, he's not just a dumb brute. You can't tell him just shut up and box. Shut up and dribble. He was valedictorian. He knows how to play chess. His father and them taught him very well. If you know anything about the Russells, you know that they're very cerebral. That's chess. Why? Because he knows that Shakur ain't in no rush. But if I go get the belt off for Dalton Smith, right? If I go collect the other 3 straps, the media can't say shit. It'll be like Earl when the Bud fight came. It's like, okay, well, you're getting ready to look real bad if you don't fight me because I went and got all the other 3 straps. That's the only reason why he'll say he'll fight Shakur last. The media's out here talking about Gary Antoine don't want none of that smoke. I'm like, you're lying. PBC needs a hub. PBC needs somebody to come out on a regular basis to come out and denounce that. Not somebody that's going to try to play politics for Shakur because of the backlash. He had a lot of energy to go up and fight Tio, who he said 2 years going into that Tio fight, he was saying he was already bigger than Tio. He had sparring history with Tio. Keyshawn had sparring history with Tio. Why do you think he picked Tio? Tio was the most accomplished. He wasn't the most dangerous. He wasn't even the most tenured. But Richardson Hitchens was his friend, Gary Antoine. He didn't want that smoke, but he was looked at as the most dangerous. There's no pressure for Shakur to fight nobody else at 140. No pressure. It wasn't even no pressure for Devin to fight Puello when he beat Gary Antoine and took his strap. The one that Devin had every right to. You know how when they say champion recess, Devin didn't even want to fight Puello. Doug Smith just pulled out of a fight with Puello. Gary Antoine said, hey man, we gotta get that get back with Puello no matter what. We gotta run that. I still want my run back. But the media, no matter what platform, the Ring Magazine, Zuffa and them, whoever talks about this, always say that Gary Antoine, well, he's not in no rush to fight Shakur. How, Sway? But the fact that the elephant in the room, PBC ain't got no hub. PBC ain't got nobody to come out there and do what the Ring Magazine doing on a regular basis, speaking to it. Even when you got a guy, they only get on the nigga nuts if it's an up-and-coming fighter and you got to fight, and then it's time to go to the Mill Cities, the Cigar Talks, the Fight Hubs, the Fight Hypes. The only one was really Ellie. And whenever Ellie come out and do something and actually put out some truth, they say, oh man, that's Ellie Nutsack. They make all these names or whatever, but Ellie was holding it down. Ellie can't do it by himself. PBC ain't got no hub to combat this shit. So when you got all these people out here talking all this stuff and saying all these things or whatever, there's no hub. There's nobody with no regular basis coming out here debunking this shit. So you got so Shakur get the benefit of the doubt, like Gary Antoine Russell is really scared to fight Shakur Stevenson. What he scared of? Puello got the dimensions and can box, and he edged it. Shakur ain't got the dimensions and all that over Gary Antoine Russell. And you seen what he did to Rayo. And Rayo got popped, but he can also box. He boxed Cruz head off. Think about it. PBC needs somebody to come out and address this shit on a regular basis. We need something to come out here and do this, but it's nobody. Okay, let me go back. Let me go over here to Rolly. Rolly. This is the biggest thing with Rolly. Y'all notice how Devin decided that, oh, Rolly, yeah, the first initiation was, oh yeah, Rolly, their money makes sense, man. We never heard Devin and them build, and this was Devin. Devin and them came. Devin, he don't even speak for himself most of the time. Bill do all the talk. The first thing we heard was Devin come out and say, yeah, man, the money's right. It looked like everything right. We getting ready to go in. You had Bill say, well, let's talk about it. Talk about what? If the money right, what else is there to talk about? Glove size? Ring size? What kind of gloves y'all gonna wear? Y'all gonna wear winnings? Like, what are we talking about? But I know Bill, he like to get into all of that to get the media going. He thinking that's how he sells fights. And yes, it sells fights, but that's just to get the people that's casual that want to talk about boxing and all this dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? We don't give a fuck once the fight get announced. We can talk about it all we want after the fight and all the little nuances and all that. But the first thing Devin said was the money was right with Rolly, only to come around and in the negotiation say, oh, the money wasn't right. Well, how was it right at the beginning, but it wasn't right at the end? So when they move on, everybody and their mother, the Ring Magazine, anybody that's a Devin fan, anybody that don't want to see him get his ass in that ring with Rolly, even though that would close the triangle, coming out and saying that Rolly, oh man, he was ducking his mandatory. What that got to do with Devin? Even though he was not ducking his mandatory, he was pursuing the big fights. Like, so everybody else but Rolly get the benefit of the doubt of pursuing the big fights, coming off of the victory, trying to maximize your leverage, your momentum after beating Ryan. But Rolly is ducking Devin. How the fuck do that sound? How did that sound? That's a unification. Y'all say unification trump mandatory. Oh, now when it comes to a PBC fighter. Oh, now when it comes to Rolly. Oh, now when it comes to Gary Antoine. Y'all see the pattern? So every conversation that Rolly's been brought up in is that Rolly is ducking and Rolly won't fight his mandatory. Okay, so well, I just debunked the whole fact that he ducked Devin. Devin came out and said the money was right. So when he initially came out and said the money was right, then you got Bill coming out 1,000 times. You could say that the sky is turquoise. No, that's not good. Let's say the sky is doo-doo brown. Even because you say the sky is doo-doo brown 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, that don't mean that the sky is doo-doo brown. It might be a shade of blue. Sometimes it might look like it's a shade of purple. The sky is never doodle brown. So just because you say it 1,000 times don't mean it is real. So because Bill come out and say, oh man, there was really no guarantee, man. That fight was sold. That would have sold. They don't believe in themselves. You know why? Because when it came down to Cambosis and they was on some legacy shit, they said they took peanuts and they went over there twice for peanuts to fight Cambosis.
Facts, bro.
So if it was about legacy and that's a unification, and you will be beating a guy that just beat, you will be the motherfucking man. Not just because I give Devin credit because he got his accolades and all that, right? He did what he did to Brian Norman, so I backed up off of him. It's not until they do some other shit where I gotta be like, hold on, man, that's not right and exact. Let's look at it. So if it was about legacy, then you would whoop Rolly ass. You was gonna get paid. Why? Because people want to see that fight. They're gonna pay money for that fight. They don't know what's gonna happen. You can say Devin gonna beat his ass all they want. We want to see that shit. So it's easy for you to say, oh man, with no guarantee money. Dude, you was gonna get paid. You just didn't believe in yourself. Because if you did and you believed in yourself the way you did with Cambosis, there would have been nothing for you to do it. The other part of that is only ducking is mandatory. Let me address that. Did you know this fun fact that Giasov was a Giannis's mandatory? Did y'all know that? Giannis didn't fight him. You see a bunch of articles about that shit, about how he didn't fight his mandatory? Fuck no. Why? Because he went for Boots. Who was Boots? Boots is an Eddie Hearn fighter, a matchroom fighter. So guess what? When Boots beat Stan Giannis, guess who inherited the mandatory? Boots. Do you see any articles about how Boots ducked Giasov? Fuck no. So when Boots went up and left, he arbitrarily left when he could have fought Brian Norman, and he moved. And then Ryan and them, before that, Ryan fought Rolly and he won. He inherited the mandatory. But guess what the articles say? Guess what the news, guess what the printed page, he who controls the printed page controls the thinking of this age. Guess what they saying? Oh, Rolly won't fight his mandatory. Well, hold on. Giannis didn't fight his mandatory. That was Giasov. Boots didn't fight his mandatory. That was Giasov. But now it's all on Rolly. PBC ain't got nobody out here addressing this shit. But it's easy to say. Why? Because it sound good. And ain't nobody gonna check that shit. And I can go in the tank, but those are just some of the things where I'm saying and with this tank shit, I mean I can go all day with that, but I ain't gonna address that right now. But I said enough right now. So go ahead and cook on that. Cook on that. What you got, AJ? AC, what y'all got?
I mean, like, what do I need to say, bro? You hit it on the head with that one. They definitely did say we took peanuts. Or what did they say? We want the same deal that Loma got. They said we'll take the same deal Loma got. Or something like that. And bro, I could have sworn everybody was posting it and all that. Oh, Devin, yeah, he takes risks. He's going to another country and taking less to become undisputed. But when it comes to certain fighters, something magically just is not right. That you just can't make the fight with that side of the street, bro. Everybody else but that side of the street. Even the way how quickly he went over there. Like the whole shit with T.O., and I ain't saying who was ducking, who was not and all that. But the whole time with T.O., that shit was just like talk. Oh, he really undisputed. Oh, no, that's not the real belt. Or this, that, and third. But when it came to Cambosis, they signed that shit, a 2-fight deal? 3-fight deal. 2 versus Cambosis and 1 versus Loma. It's something they most likely negotiated, but told the public, oh yeah, we can sign anybody. We can sign with anybody. But recently, y'all free agents, but can't make a deal with the PBC. Like it's mind-boggling. Like it makes you almost question, like, do they just be saying anything? And I'm talking about boxing in general, because all the media outlets is reporting the same thing. but the fight not it. Wasn't they supposed to fight? When? They were supposed to fight, wasn't they? Like recently? Cause that was like a little minute ago. They were supposed to fight either this month, next month. That fight could have been going on. That Rosen and Devin fight. That was a good fight, bro. I don't get, I don't get it, bro. Like, but you know how it goes, man. It's selective outrage when it comes to making fights. Like even with the Overtire and the David Benavidez,
Yeah.
that man is over there as Zuffa, chilling. And people was calling David Benavidez a duck. How, bro? That man over there chilling on Zuffa, waiting for his next fight. They keep lying, talk about it's one fight there or more, 3 fight. No, motherfucker, y'all is under the brand. Plain and simple. Until they release y'all, it ain't no one fight. I know that. Like it's something more to it because they all running over there. Like I thought Turkey was the man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Turkey would be quick to be jumping out there on Twitter or anything on his main page, talking about how disloyalty is, like how he did with the court. But all of them is running over there because that's the next thing. I'm telling you, the pro bot, they basically Reaper stole that shit. They stole basically because if I can remember, you did say that the owner pro bot, like he was kind of like under the tutelage of Al Haney, Mike.
Yeah, you sound kind of low, AJ. I don't know if you into your mic. I can hear you, but I don't know if the audience can.
Yeah, but the pro box guy, he was under PBC, right? Al Haney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Gary Jonas worked closely with Al. He learned a lot of things from Al. Yep.
Okay, so basically that's what Reaper did, bro. Like they took that, they swaggered that, and they ran off with it. But they don't know how to do it. It's kind of like how the Wayne brothers keep talking about how like they stole their movies and all that shit. It's kind of like that. Like, yeah, you can take it, but you gotta know the preparation that come behind it. But they don't know the preparation. They just know scary movie too. You know me? So it's all coming to fruition. Like Shakur did all that barking and shit, but Ray go over there want some, but he don't want to fight Devin, and that's kind of suspect. If you ask me, he don't want to fight Devin all of a sudden because I could have sworn everybody thought that Devin was ducking at him or he was scared of him, but it's like, damn, bro, like I thought you was confident, but no.
Yeah. So look, this is the example. This is the example I was giving up. This the example about Tank, and this is the example. This is why I know. This is why I tell you that your favorite content creator, your favorite outlet, Max Kellerman, depending on which Tim Bradley you get, whoever talk Max Kellerman. This is why I tell you they full of shit because when Jamal Charlo was going at it with David Benavidez, he wasn't in the same way. He was at 60. David Benavidez was at 68. He went on Mike Tyson. They said that Jamal was ducking. Now, I did say it sounded weird because he was saying he needed a COVID shot. He needed to come back down to his weight class. And I'm like, man, Ma, that don't sound too good. It didn't sound too good, but the narrative was he was ducking, right? So Shakur get to talk all this shit back and forth with Devin, but then when he don't go, is Devin's ducking him. It's like, no, you saying you one of them ones. You can't be one of them ones, and then you want all these caveats. And you said you would go to 54 to fight Conor Ben, but you wanted to put the same weight stipulation on him. But remember, when Tank came down with the weight stipulations at his true weight class, they said, "Oh man, it's some bullshit." Also, when Tank, when Eddie and them and all the media outlets and anybody you know, who wanted a like, a click, a view, a couple dollars, they came out there and said that Tank was ducking Conor Ben. I was like, how the fuck do that work? He's at 35, going to 47. Now, he did go up to 40 for Barrios. Y'all didn't accept that, but Barrios went up another weight class and got a belt. But they said that he was ducking Conor Ben. Oh, man, he ducked 20 million. There was nothing in fruition. There was no, like, what? 20 million what? Like, for what? How was he ducking? But Shakur get the benefit of the doubt because he got all the Shakurians in the Brat Pack and anybody else who want to eat eggplant with him. You know what I'm saying? So it's just wild because with Tank, there's always, so now Shakur can outright straight up say, nah, man, with the weight cut, no, I'll do it at 144 and I'll do this. And then you got Tim Bradley because Shakur is older than Devin, but you got Tim Bradley, BF, all these other people. Oh, man, he got his muscles got to develop and all that. I'm like, man, this man done got married and had a baby. And he's older than Devin, but his muscles, now it's all about the muscles got to develop and all this bullshit.
The 40-year-old version.
Bro, he's 28, bro.
But
he's 28.
But here's my take on it. I'm gonna say it like this because.
Oh, and my bad. What's up, AC?
What's good, AJ?
Brother?
I'm gonna say it like this. You know, one of my favorite questions is how did we get here? Or
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So to understand how we got here, you have to really understand the big betrayal of the PBC, right? Because when PBC came out, right, Al and Floyd and Tom, you know, it was being touted as, you know, black boxing excellence. You know what I'm saying? They had all the names. You had groups and literal channels and crews of these channels coming out to support PBC because at the time they were saying that they were out to support these fighters. Meanwhile, on that list that they were talking about, it was pretty much 80% PBC fighters and 20% non-PBC fighters. And guess who the non-PBC fighters were on that list? Shakur and Devin. Everybody else was on PBC. Tank, the Charlos, Deontay Wilder, all of them were all PBC fighters. And then you used to see the channels that had the little drawings of Bud standing outside, you know, with Keith Thurman and everybody sitting inside and everybody talking about, you know, Bud signed the wrong deal when he re-signed with Top Rank. Because he should have came over to PBC because PBC had all the smoke. So there was a point, and this is where I was really, really, really there. You feel what I'm saying? Because I was subscribed to all of these channels. We're talking about the LDB guys. We're talking about the tree guys, the Teach Tree guys. We're talking about the Chant Side guys. All of these guys were heavy supporters of PBC. You know what I'm saying? That whole crew was heavy supporter of PBC. So as time passed and the money and the politics and the business, people reached out because all of these people were doing excellent jobs because at the end of the day, from my understanding, we were all subscribed to these guys.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? And we were listening to them on a regular, giving them chat, being in the chats and sending super chats and all of that. We bought into it. But then what we didn't really understand was each one of them had an assignment. And they betrayed their own oath to then follow a particular fighter or hate on a particular fighter that was originally part of your group. That was originally part of your talking points.
Yep.
That was originally part of your mission statement. But then you betrayed your fan base, you betrayed PBC, and now at the end of the day, you want us to follow you because you're telling us that out of everything we witnessed with you, your growth, your rise, your failures, you know, the whole 9 yards, that just following this one guy that you're putting all your money and eggs in the basket for this guy, that's what we should do. And that's the truth of boxing. That's where boxing should lie. Some people splint it off. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when I look at it, all of those guys, and I could probably say from me talking with Bodywork, it's the reason why he started his channel, because it came to a point, it was like, yeah, I'm rocking with you, I'm rocking with you, I'm rocking with you, and then, whoa, wait a minute. What the fuck did you just say? Hold on, bro. As a man, how could you say that? As a man, how could you fix your face to say that and feel comfortable about it? Whoa, hold on, bro. I rocks with you, but I don't get that. Somebody ban that dude. Put him on timeout. What did I say, bro? I thought we were all men.
Give this nigga 86,000 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, so at the end of the day, man, it's like top rank was always a high and low talking point. You know what I'm saying? PBC, it was high, and then the money changed the people who were tasked with supporting it. Because those of us fans who are heavy Terrence Crawford fans at the time, you feel what I'm saying? For me, it was like, bro, why are we so heavy on just trying to say it's this and that? You know what I'm saying? It's the two fighters. The promotional companies really ain't got nothing to do with it, because here's the examples of them working with this, them working with that, them working with that. So as a fan, I don't want to feed into that. Somebody ban this dude. Oh shit, wow. Okay. I just wanted to speak because I was a huge fan of both of them. But I just don't like narrative driven bullshit, even if it's around my guy. You know what I'm saying? And for me, people found it strange that I picked Brian Norman over Devin Haney. Oh, I thought you was one of those. No, I'm not. I've been the sport of boxing. That's what I told you guys. I've been the sport of boxing long before I was a fan of Terrence Crawford or Devin Haney. And if Crawford does something right, I'm gonna cook him on it. I mean, does something wrong, I'm gonna cook him on it. Dev, you ducked Rolly. Period. There is no discussion. None of these weird Devin fans can sit there and tell me, I don't give a fuck if it's your family or not, that this dude didn't duck. Now, I wish I would have stayed on this panel or got on this panel maybe an hour earlier, where Bill Haney just recently jumped on this guy's panel. And I listened to everybody, and I didn't hear nobody ask this man clearly, okay, listen, Bill, I just need to ask you this question. On Ring Magazine, Devin was sitting there on the panel at the desk. He said the Rolly fight made sense, because if Ryan is playing games, then why not beat the guy who beat Ryan? He said the money makes sense, everything makes sense. You feel me? Then when they asked him, well, did you sign the contract? He was like, we're just working out some minor things. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this fight about to go down. Rolly come out like the next thing would within a couple of days, and I don't remember which interview came first. Rolly comes out and says, sounding all depressed, like, Devin is bullshit. We've been waiting 2 weeks. He told us, yeah, they're gonna sign 2 weeks ago. He hasn't signed. I signed the contract. We've already went through negotiations. It's just a matter of just signing the contract. So when I heard that, and then watched Devin say what he said, and just use my fucking common sense, no narrative, no looking through the filter of Devin Haney. You ducked. That's a clear contract negotiations. Y'all went through everything. All you had to do was sign the contract and y'all would have fought. So for me, that's a clear duck. But none of the Devin Haney fans want to cook on Devin, Duck, and Rolly. Everybody's talking around that like, oh, Devin should be fighting Shakur Stevenson, and will that fight ever get made? And yeah, there was some secret agreement between Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson way back when nobody knew about these niggas or really gave a fuck that they had some agreement that they was going to meet up at 47. Okay, you just missed an opportunity to become unified. Everybody applauded you for what you did at 35. Why can't you rinse and repeat that? You think just because you were undisputed one time, that's it? Bro, you fucking ducked this dude. Period, money. And for me, it was Bill. How did y'all do this? How did you duck this man to go sign with Zuffa? Like, make that make sense to me, Bill. And I don't want to hear the business of boxing bullshit. Because everything was signed, Bill. Your son said everything was done. Yep, that means both lawyers, accountants, and everybody signed off on the negotiation. It just went to the legal teams, and these are probably some very good paid associates just to draw up the contract. And that's it, bruh. So how did that happen, Bill? And now your son ain't got no fight, and y'all talking about signing the zoo for the fight. Who? You had a fight right there. You had greatness again right there. Everybody was hyped. Even people who don't like Devin was hyped that you went from Brian Norman, now you going into Rolling. And you unified.
Right.
That's where I landed.
Yeah, I'd have been doing videos of like, man, Devin, you know what I'm saying? He done did a whole 180 because I had to back up off him after the Brian Norman. But I'm like, you see how Bill is a master at the benefit of the doubt. But the people, these people right here, like, look at these people. None of these guys get the benefit of the doubt, right? So how long we been talking about? Like, we've been talking about this since right after, literally when Chris Mannix came out there and poured water all over Shockey and Shakur, where Shakur gets to renege on his word. Chris Mannix came out and was like, oh nah, that fight absolutely not gonna happen. I'd rather see him against Navarrete. He was the front runner for that whole talking point. You know what I'm saying? They get the benefit of the doubt. Oh yeah, he getting ready to sign with Zuffa. But how long has it been now? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the announcement? Where's the agreement? Like, but they get in the interim, you get caught up in this purgatory of defending a point that hasn't even come to fruition yet. This is why I say I stopped giving Devin. He got a little bit of the benefit of the doubt after the Norman. But then I quickly had to take that back, and then Shakur, I've been stopped giving this nigga the benefit of the doubt. I'm kicking myself in the ass for times when I was doing videos about Shakur, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, hold on, dude, you've been doing this shit for a long time. Like, you've always figured out a way to finagle the bagel. Like, you've always figured out a way to get the masses and whatever influence you got to be on your side, and that it's always the other guy. And it's like, well, damn, I touched the foot, it hurts. I touched the knee, it hurts. I touched the thigh, it hurts. I touched the ear, it hurts. I touched the phalange, it hurts. It's like, no, it's you, dog. It's the finger. It's you. If it's always somebody else, and so now, where you done got all this credit, where you one of them ones, he was like, then he come out with this thing talking about, I'm in the driver's seat now. Okay, so you in the driver's seat now, so now you in the spot that everybody had Tank in, but you don't want the same, you're not dealing with the pressure the same way Tank did. Like the same narrative that they used to paint Tank with and all this dude is acting even more like, yeah, you could justify with Tank, because if you look at him, he about 5 foot nothing. And he done already fought 3 of the biggest names up at 147. Stopped them. But everything that you need now, you need some kind of caveat, you need some kind of this, you need some kind of that. People will brag and boast about how big you are compared to a Shockey, and then say, oh no, your muscles need to go develop to be fighting Devin. It's like, you can't have it both ways, bro. I was going to do a thumbnail saying, man, is this man bi? You know what I'm saying? Because he loved having it both ways, bro. This man love having everything both ways. You can't have it both ways. And so I noticed that to a certain extent, Devin get to have it both ways. He get to duck Rolly, right? And now even with the stake of Keyshawn, even though ironically I'm leaning towards Devin in the Keyshawn fight. I don't think Keyshawn is as good as what everybody think he is, and I think that I think that Devin I noticed one thing. When Devin is really, really confident about fighting somebody, he really, really trying to make something happen. But see, Bill comes in and then he throws in the whole, oh no, I'm not gonna fight Wily Kid if I can't fight Wily Cat. It's like, damn, bro. So everywhere you go, you gotta have a threesome now? Like, make it make sense. Like, do you want the smoke or not? Expose Keyshawn if that's what he pull up his slip. If that's what it is. But no, these cats nowadays want it both with Devin, and that's why I say that they deserve each other, man. These cats want it both ways. So think about this. Shakur can say, oh no, I just made it to 140. I have not acclimated and I just got there and all this. But he don't have none of the responsibility of fighting, none of the smoke at 40. He get to tell, oh, don't try to talk yourself out of it, O'Shaquie. You said you'll bring your ass up to 140. And when I do X, Y, and Z, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear no excuses. But then the fans jump in the way and say, oh, we don't want to see O'Shaquie versus Shakur. I'm like, nigga, what? Has O'Shaquie fought at 40 before? Yes. So what are we talking about? But he can say, I want to fight Raymond Mortaya. He know Raymond Mortaya busting at the seams, ready to go to 40, but he want to fight Raymond Mortaya at 35, but he won't fight O'Shaquie at 35. So he won't fight Devin at 47. He won't fight Ryan at 47. He'll fight Conor Benn at 54, but then he want to bring O'Shaquie up to 40, but then he'll fight Mortaya at 35. Like, make it make sense. Nobody can. But PBC fighters, the guys like Tank with a 93.33% knockout ratio, he don't get the benefit of the doubt. The way David Benavidez, he been moving, he don't get the benefit of the doubt. The fact that Gary Antoine Russell never made it a secret as to what he's trying to do, how he's trying to get undisputed. There's no pressure for Shakur to fight him, but when Richard Hedges beat T.O., oh, Richard Hedges got to fight Gary Antoine. But so Shakur ain't got to fight Gary Antoine? Oh, no, he don't want none of that Shakur fight. Shakur ain't even got to address it. Name one video where you seen anybody putting any kind of pressure for Shakur to fight Gary Antoine. So no pressure for nobody at 40. He don't want to go to 47 for Ryan. Don't want to go 47 for Devin. He'll go to 54 for Conor Benn. They say, oh, well, that's Conor Benn. It's okay, so he's not one of them ones, yo. He's not.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, man, it's like this. If there is any sort of talking point on any side, it's for Shakur to go down to 35 and fight Mortaya. All the other hard smoke at 35 or big fights, although Shakur keeps saying he's a 35 pounder, it's to fight Mortaya. There is no smoke, and I've even seen stuff for Shakur and Devin Haney, where someone put out, and I didn't even respond to it. I just looked at the thumbnail and just started laughing. There is no smoke for Devin Haney at 47, and I think this is what Bill was saying. And if Thomas Hill is still there, I think he can confirm this, to where Bill Haney is saying that there is no smoke for Devin Haney at 47, so it makes more sense for him to go up to 54. Okay, so there was a fight between you and Rolly that all the terms and everything you agreed on. Rolly is what you consider smoke because it's unification and it's a bunch of other shit on top of it. You just said it's the guy who beat the guy who beat. You just said it's the guy who beat the guy who beat you. And there's no smoke, Bill. And the only smoke is at 54. And I'm trying to think to myself, All right. Are you gonna get in there with Boots? Are you gonna get in there with Xander? Are you gonna get in there with Charles Conwell? Are you gonna
Nope.
get in there with Bakaram? Are you gonna get in there? I like who are you going to get in there with?
Bro, I was asking myself the same thing, but listen, you gotta listen to both of them. You gotta listen to what Devin's saying, then you gotta listen to what Bill's saying. When you listen to Devin was like, this nigga's named off all these names. He said, man, what's the dude, what's his name, man? Emiliano. You got him coming up. You got Abdullah Mason, if he comes up. He was naming all these young people moving up or whatever that will be potentially big fights. And then you hear Bill saying, oh man, well shit, we looking at Xander. It's like, well, Xander got something going on with Boots, but he would never definitively say that he would fight Boots at 54. That's why they on some bullshit, bro. They on some bullshit, man. Like
Yeah.
it's not more blatant than what you gotta listen to what they saying and then watch how they move. When they really feel confident, they pick an opponent. We don't hear nothing about no negotiation. I always say this. When they want to fight somebody, you don't hear nothing about that shit. It's like, oh yeah, we looking to fight this, and then you don't hear nothing. It might get a little quiet, and then boom, the fight is announced. So, you don't. The minute they start, anybody, this is the golden rule for the DHP and them. Once they start negotiating in the media, they are bullshitting. They're doing what I always said before. This right here, they doing this. They doing this right here. This is what they doing. The Linguini method. They say all these names, they see what stick, and then whatever. See, Bill thinks that, okay, see, this is his thing. And this is how I got him pegged. Once he gets you talking and going back and forth for the media, I think that's how he goes back to the networks and say, whether it's Turkey, whether it's whoever, you know what I'm saying, he's going back and saying, listen, man, they talking. Look, this is what they want. This is what the people saying they want. So it's his job to get you to get online and have his millions go back and forth and drudge up as much. Once he can pinpoint the numbers and the views, oh, look at this. They look at all these. They want to see this. And so that's what he used to negotiate. Once they start doing that shit in the media, man, they on some bullshit. Because how you want to go up there? So you're not even giving, just rightfully so, you're not even giving Xander or Boots like they're just dudes by letting that fight happen and saying, okay, well, we're going to go up and fight the winner. That'll be gangster, but you're buying time to talk all this shit because we got to wait all the way until the end of this month to see that shit. But you're buying time because you get people, oh yeah, he'll go up and fight Xander. Well, I'm thinking, listen, I ain't no genius, but if you were that adamant and you really wanted to go do that, then Xander would have took you as opposed to Boots. It would have made more sense because Xander didn't have to take this Boots. But I'm guaranteeing you, if Devin would have said, hey, I'm going up to 55 to fight Xander, we wouldn't be getting no Xander and Boots. We'd be getting Xander and Devin.
But here's the crazy part. Devin, Shakur, Boots, all do this thing. You know what I'm saying? And they all play the Linguini method. And with playing the Linguini method, it's just what you said, because there are groups of people, there are organizations that follow things. We constantly talk about the algorithm right now. Like, what moves the algorithm? The algorithm is completely important when you're talking about a social media age, or an age of electronics, and you're trying to see public persuasion. Does public persuasion work or not? And if public persuasion works, then guess what? The numbers move the money. Excuse me. And with that being said, that's a gift of marketing. If I can get the masses talking, and then look at how the algorithm is moved for every time someone Googles it, or Googles one of these fighters' names, or anything like that, how many times these videos get played, that's the way you can poll in politics. That's the way you can poll for a company that wants to do something major. So this information and how they maneuver social media and put it out there and then give the talking points to these guys, there's a real business behind that. You know, it's part of what people say when they get on social media and start a platform and they're doing certain things. You cannot get monetized until X amount of things happen. That means you're moving the needle and you have the potential to move the algorithm, which then gives us an indicator. Like I said before, it gives us an indicator whether or not just your channel is going to be moderate successful, very successful, or you're going to have 1 million followers in a matter of no time. And then other companies will say, well, we can help you get to those because we've been looking at your algorithms and looking at your video information and data, and we see X, Y, and Z, and how many people really watch the video. All of that shit matters. So Bill is aware of that. Shakur's team is aware of that. Boots' team is aware of that. Eddie Hearn is aware of that. So these guys that are hard to sell, I don't really have a way of marketing them. The only way I have to marketing them is actually just doing this, manipulating the media so I can give justification for these bullshit fights that I'm about to make with these guys. With Tank, you don't have to do that. With Canelo, you didn't have to do that. It's just you heard who Canelo was going to fight. Whether we agreed with it or not, that he still put up numbers for a fight nobody asked about, nobody gave a fuck about, and then along building up to the fight, the media shitted on him. But then come fight night, he's got very solid numbers. The same thing with Tank. So at the end of the day, for me, I'm like, look, man, you could, what you do right there with what manipulating, it's like political polls. I can't put that much trust in it because I don't know your sample size. I don't know where this thing was held at. So when you do this linguini method and you're not giving me nothing serious, then I have to question, are you serious? Because there's nothing serious about you. You're not chasing the smoke, and whenever it comes up to the smoke, you know, there's this certain sector, even if I'm a fan of one of the guys, there's a sector of that fandom that's like, oh, I don't understand why this fight's gonna happen. Don't nobody want to see it. This guy didn't put up any pay-per-view numbers. Who is he? And I'm like, your guy isn't even a pay-per-view star. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. By the numbers, none of them are like Shakur. He could do New Jersey. He do it, but like you had your chance. You had like it wasn't. It's nowhere near like the whole Floyd versus De La Hoya. But like everybody was saying, okay, Tank the money man. You had your shot. You could have beat, like if you was that guy, you could beat the shit down Tank leg, but like now that's an afterthought. So now you don't. So now you're in the driver's seat. You get to do all these other like sassy ass things that you do. Like this dude be sounding sassy as fuck. So now your fans have relieved you of actually keeping your word. That's why I'm saying I'm glad it's been like a year and a half I jumped off that Shakur train. I'm glad because it's like, nah, man, now y'all ain't got to keep your word. Like now your fans ain't got to keep their word. Your fans can say, oh man, I got Ray Ford beating Oshaki, and then when it come out, you ain't got to eat no crow or nothing. Your fans are just following suit with how you are. You ain't got no pressure to fight nobody. You can move on your own time. It's already questionable. Like, man, when you put this nigga Shakur up under the microscope, and people will probably be shocked that I'm probably riding more for Devin than I am for Shakur right now, to a certain extent. I just don't like Bill and his antics because I see through him. But like when you put Shakur in all these moves that he's done for the past three years, like him, he was out here online, AC, celebrating Josh Padley, bro. I said, man, listen, they are cooking the shit out of Tank for a draw with Lamont Roach. They will be cooking the shit out of Tank right now to this day if he was celebrating that he fought an electrician, bro. And he struggled. The dude was one drop, 1 point. Like if the dude wouldn't have got, he might have got a draw with this dude. And this dude wasn't no world beater. He was in there with, he was like, that's my boy, Shakur did, that's my boy. when he could have fought JD Herrera, the guy who really had the interim strap that Zepeda and Roach bought to fight. He could have fought him. He didn't do it. When Schofield pulled out. And he's celebrating Josh Padley now, bro. I'm like, man, like this is a musty, dirty game, man. And it's just sad where it's going, man. And the media got control of it. But the crux of mine, just to bring it home for me, man, I'll land right here. My point, the point of this is that when you look at these guys on this thumbnail, right? By box office and by knockout ratio, and by being the money man, and by being the guy who people who have fought, AC did a great job this the other day. The people that Tank has fought, they have went on to be bigger and better, and he's giving more shine to anybody else. Like AC said, he knocked reality into these niggas. He knocked, would you say he knocks, I don't know. He makes them better.
Yeah.
But after you fight, you get this glow, or you get this thing, and people want to see. Because look how many people from that tree who he's fought, and they went on to do bigger and better. Whether it's getting championships, whether it's being in big fights, whether it's people just being interested after this. None of the other guys that's in and around him that he talk about have done that. Nobody has lost to any of them guys and went on to go do any other thing. Shakur might be gloating because of Padley, because he went over there and got that British championship, and Eddie get ready to cash him out because he talking about he want to see the old Shockies of the world. And I'm like, yeah, man, you want to cash out on this motherfucker, because the minute he get in there with anybody from on this side that got any notable name or any kind of thing, he gonna get his ass knocked out. David Benavidez, how he's been moving, he don't get no benefit of the doubt. Gary Antoine and what he showed, he bounced back from the loss with Puello, put hands and feet on Ryu, and now nobody want to fight him, and he been a boogeyman. And Rolly, he can't even capitalize on the momentum after doing what he did with Ryan. And Devin just ducked him. But Shakur get the benefit of the doubt. Keyshawn get the benefit of the doubt. Devin get the benefit of the doubt. Anybody else that they advocate, John Bataya, going over to Zuffa Island, get the benefit of the doubt. Anybody that's going over to sign with Zuffa, oh yeah, you get a pass. Oh yeah, you trying to be one of them ones. They gonna fight who? But these guys don't get the benefit of the doubt. And PBC don't have nobody out here on a regular basis that they're commissioned to actually come out here and talk that shit and to keep everybody honest about the conversations had around these guys. They're just letting the media just run rampant and just shit on these guys, and nobody checks them. So I had to come out and do this one. I'm saying, man, PBC, y'all got to address this shit, because PBC taking too many L's in the media. And it's not true. For me, it bothers me. It's like, man, it's cringy to hear some of the things that they saying about these guys from PBC, and nobody's out here on a regular basis advocating for these guys. I'll land right there. How y'all want to land?
For me, I'll land it right here. When it comes down to what they're trying to say about the PBC versus everybody else, versus making fights and giving these guys these weird passes and stuff like that, I feel like this: boxing is going to have all these weird little cracks and crevices. You put a microscope to it, it's not a smooth landscape. It's a landscape that's full of hills, valleys, dips, cracks, crevices, abysses, and a bunch of other stuff. Because we see great fighters fall into abyss, not because their own doing, but because the way the media machine wants to work. You know, and within that media machine wanting to work, there are guys that the company says, listen, this information shows that, you know, Charles Cornwell is a very, very tough fight. If we're looking at this particular thing, there is a need. Within the whole zeitgeist of boxing, there is a need for Charles Cornwell to face Xander Zayas, like right now, to see which one of these guys is gonna be the it thing. But Xander Zayas has the island of Puerto Rico behind him. He has a much solid fan base that doesn't quiver because of losses or anything. So we see that with the Berlanga situation. So Puerto Rican fans are diehard, like UK fans and Mexican fans and stuff like that. They're gonna back their guy, win, lose, or draw. So the business and what this information is telling us is that Xander versus Conwell is not good for business if Conwell should win. This is why, to a certain degree, we have to accept we never saw the Xander versus Charles Conwell fight. And then there are some things where it seemed as though the timing of when Charles Conwell got the fight to the guy he lost was perfect timing. And just outside the ring issues with, the big fight, the pressure of the big fight. This is my opportunity. This is my Eminem moment. Because if I beat Xander, they gotta recognize me. They gotta do this. They gotta do that. And Top Rank is saying, yeah, listen, if you beat this guy, then, we'll back you. But the timing, like they say, you got to be prepared for opportunity. Well, opportunity was there, but life doesn't always tell you that you're actually prepared for opportunity. That's when you find out that opportunity is like sitting next to the stinky ass homeless dude on the train and there are no other seats. You have to sit there. Because if you can endure that smell to the next ride, then he gets up and the person that sits there is the person that's going to change your life. But just don't get up and change the car. And that's the way opportunity acts sometimes. It's ugly, it's disgusting, it stinks. And that's what happened with Conwell. Facing a guy who is prepared for that opportunity because the business and everything wanted him to be prepared. This is a true fact that this is my truth when it comes down to how I see them moving Xander. But it doesn't deter me from the fact of appreciating Xander for how Xander handled things. Yes, he was maneuvered to a certain length. Yes, probably they were looking for the big breakout fight for Xander. And it wouldn't have been him fighting, Virgil Ortiz or anything like that. That would have been a stepping stone to get to the next level. It's like, I hate to say it, but it's like Xander versus Virgil was like Bud versus Errol. In effect, you needed that fight to get to that point. But then the bigger fight was with Canelo. And for Xander, all right, this is that fight for you. But when Boots came up there, okay, even if you fight Virgil, the bigger fight to say who's going to do everything is the other commodity we have, Boots. So we're going to put together this race between you two guys. And now the big fight is here. And this is Charles Conwell's moment that he had with the guy that he fought. He could have got past him, no doubt he would have got the Xander fight. And that would have put all kind of pressure on Xander to make sure, to find out what Xander was really made of. Just like if Xander wins this fight, guess who he fights next more than likely? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we see how this thing runs. We use common sense to see how these things run. And, we make our predictions, but that all depends on whether it's true or not and how it goes. It all depends on life itself. I'm not in the room, so I'm just taking an educated guess. And if I have to backtrack and be like, yeah, I thought they was going to do this. From every indication that I was looking at, I thought this was going to go down. You know what I'm saying? And it just didn't happen that way. It happens. Just look at what happened with this situation. Whenever you see Brian Custer talking to somebody, you can pretty much bet that the person that they're talking about, the fight that this person is looking at, that's the fight that's pretty much on deck. You're not gonna bring out the big guns like Brian Custer for nothing. For nada, zip. He's the seal of the deal. Like, yo, when Brian talk, listen, because there's some shit that's about to happen, and it's always gonna be some good shit, at least for the PBC and the fighters involved. So that's the way I look at it. And when I saw Brian Custer talking to Rolly Romero, I was like, oh yes, this fight is a definite. And then this guy walks away, which to me is like one of the first that I've ever seen Brian Custer talk about a fight that didn't happen. Wow. So for me, it said a lot. And that's pretty much where I landed right there. It's just the same way. People know how to maneuver the media. And the media, to a certain degree, has a major role into where Body was talking about boxing is changing. It's going to change. You know what I'm saying? Before we were talking about the A side and becoming the people's champion, shit like that. Are you the media's champ? Are you the M side? No longer the A side. Are you the M side? That's the media side. You got the media machine behind you. You got the M&M behind you, the media machine. Then you the man. A side shit don't matter. Who you got behind you? The media? Okay, I could fuck with you. I could sell you. And that's where I land that plane, bro.
Brilliant, AC, man. That bum analogy, man, that's the perfect description of opportunity, man. But I appreciate your contribution, man. We'll talk offline about what you got going on, man. But I appreciate you, man, taking time out to, jump on this segment, man.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, bro. On to the next one, man.
All right, man. All right. Got another good one in the books, y'all. I'll say this, man. It's just so many different concepts and things, and I gotta kind of share more of my mind with everybody every time I get up here, man, so that y'all can see how I see and how I think about things. But it's real funny because a guy like let's just take Brandon Adams. We seen Boychuk beat Virgil, right? Like in our book, dropped him twice. He won. The business of boxing was like, nah. But Brandon Adams stopped Boychuk. He stopped him before that fight, and then he put hands and feet on him in the Canelo undercard. Nobody want to fight Brandon Adams. But I recall everybody jumping on Speedy Rashidi saying, oh man, you ducked because he didn't take the money when he was offered a Boots fight last minute. And my thing is this. A lot of times, man, you gotta kind of check yourself as a fan and check, your integrity and how you're really thinking about things, because it's odd that Speedy Rashidi would get all the heat for not taking a fight. It was late. It was a late notice. It was low. He felt like it was a low offer. Hell, Charles Conwell felt like it was a low offer. And then I don't always put it on Boots. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yeah, your promoter worked for you. But I put a lot of it on Eddie based on his behavior. But Eddie has a track record of lowballing people. So I'm like, you got to check yourself when your fighter says, oh man, the money wasn't right. Well, was the money not right? Or was the risk too high for the apropos of reward? Which one was it? Because I told y'all earlier, when Devin believed in himself, he took, don't take my word for it, his biggest knee pad wearing, throat coat spraying, tonsil jewelry displaying, knee pad wearing fan with the reach around extenders. He said he took peanuts to go fight Kambosos, and he did it twice, all the way to Australia. Remember, Bill almost didn't even make it the first time. So when your fighter believes in something, we don't hear all that bullshit in negotiations, all that blah, blah, blah. We don't see all these people out in the media you know, doing all this stuff and all this. Like whenever the media is just out loud, it's just like in the news. A guy that was like me, I was in the army. I don't listen to the news. You can't tell me nothing. Like if I want to go, I go look up something. I go look up this. I go look at that, and I'm like, okay, that's what's really going on. But as a guy that was in the army, all involved, if I listen to the news about some things, you know, that pertains to war, I'll be way off. So when in boxing, when you got all these people in the media saying these certain things and putting all these things, like when Chris Mannix poured water all over the Shockey fight, and right at the very beginning, at the onset, right after Shakur got out the ring and the fight was over, whatever. Before the post-fight interviews, like when they go in the locker room and they talk to him, when they sitting there doing the post-fight press conference and all that. Before all of that, Chris Mannix had already directed everybody to push this O'Shaquie versus Navarrete. And then instantly, you had Max Kellerman saying that, oh, man, I think Navarrete beats O'Shaquie. Based on what? Based on what? We see how our fighters move when they really believe they can beat somebody. We don't hear about no negotiation. We don't hear about none of that. When it come down, like the biggest fight that we got coming up here, the next biggest fight, aside from Bam or whatever that's coming up this weekend, the next biggest fight is this Boots and this Xander thing. And I'll put it like this. If Boots can't make that ring small, it's going to be a long night. If he can make that ring small for Xander, he might get him up out of there. That's what it boils down to. You know what I'm saying? I think that they both been a little bit, I think they both been talking like a little, the difference between being confident and then being cocky. I think both of them are being a little bit cocky going into this fight. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm thinking it's like a 65, 35, 60, 40 maybe. You know what I'm saying? Boots. But I don't know. It comes down to if he can make that ring small. I don't really engage in a lot of conversation because I think people over here, we're so thirsty for the next star that we tend to give people benefit of the doubt. I heard I'm not even going to comment on what I heard and seen today somewhere else. When I was just dropping by trying to see what was going on, I'm not even going to say, but I'm like, man, the narratives, and they all cater towards like PBC fighters. Like PBC fighters no matter what, because ain't nobody out here. And this one was in regard to Fundora. I'm like, damn, so Fundora need, you know what I'm saying? PBC got to get out here and have a hub. They got to have somebody. You know, I'll put my name in the hat to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? But like, we need somebody out here, man, that's going to say, hey, man, listen, man, no. Factually, you know what I'm saying? Like, historically, statistically, this is what's going on. He who controls the printed page controls the thinking of this age. And right now, PBC is getting played. No, don't take my word for it, man. Go do your research, man. But it's just odd how we don't give PBC guys, like the guys who actually showed us and proved to us like what they are and who they are, even if it's some flies in the ointment, even if they don't do everything right, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't give them the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes down to this political driven conversation, anything catered towards Zoo for people that stands to gain likes, clicks, views, money, you know what I'm saying, monetization, sponsorship, you know, checks by affiliation, they get all the benefit of the doubt. This should not be so. I thought I'd come out here, man, and do a segment on this, man, and address the elephant in the room, man, because it bothers me, man. And hopefully some of the things you've seen and heard on this channel you can take on to your next boxing conversation. But anything pertaining to a PBC fighter, some of it might be right, but like, you really gotta hold it up to the light if you really want to stand on it, man, because right now it really don't make no sense what most people are saying, especially when it's just convenient to throw a PBC guy under the bus. It's just convenient to say these things without no proof. It's just convenient. You know what I'm saying? I'll say this. when it come down to Boots, they saying, man, if he get past Xander, you know how many fans I heard say they want to see him fight Ryan. They talking about Devin. I'm like, no, I'm talking about Fundora, maybe Yo-Yo Hernandez. I'm looking bigger and better. Like, I see Carlos Adames is getting ready to try to take on, he's dropping his strap and going up to see RC Iglesias. I'm talking about moves like that. Why is that not getting no traction? Oh, he's a PBC fighter. I forgot. Don't knock the messenger, man. This was just a message. I always say silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we speak to the things that need to be spoken to in the sport of boxing. We try not to be toxic. We're not even salacious. We just come with them facts. We creative. That's all we do, man. You know what I'm saying? The link is always available if you ever want to jump on it, debate, and do all this. But, man, we got to stop the politics. It is ruining the sport. You see where it's going. Everybody trying to sell that butt to Zuffa, man. I'm not going. That's just me. You know, fruits and veggies, not that Reggie, that fact-based content, not opinion-based, even though we have ours. We just ask that, man, just like anything else. Don't take our word for it. Go do your research, man, and stop being led by the noses, you know, in a lot of these conversations. But it's just food for thought, y'all. It's just food for thought. Instead of walking away and being frustrated and not engaging with y'all, I figure, hey, man, let me come out and do a segment to just address this. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you gain something from it. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.